The Texans were on the field today. Well, some of them were, and some of them were, but they kind of weren't. It is S&L, Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. We just got back from OTAs. A lot of things to take away from here. I thought it was a relatively active day of OTAs. A lot of questions, a lot of answers, a lot of other things. A ton to build on. We appreciate everyone for coming through. We'll start with the biggest news. CJ Stroud was there, but CJ Stroud did not throw. And I'm not sitting here saying that this is a massive thing, but it did go down. D'Amico Ryans actually spoke on it. Let's hear from D'Amico, and then Cody, you piggyback off of D'Amico and let me know what you think about CJ Stroud not throwing today.
All the guys you see here, guys, there will be guys on different schedules, different routines. So you'll see some guys out, some guys won't be out there, some guys will be, some guys will be on different snap count, different pitch count. So there's nothing going on right now within our guys. Everybody's just on their own schedule.
Okay. Thoughts?
Anytime the franchise quarterback doesn't throw an entire practice, you worry. I'm worried right now. It's worrisome the guy doesn't throw in an entire practice. You can't tell me that there's not something bigger going on, or there's at least a little bit of concern with something associated with that throwing motion, that a guy can't throw 25 passes, 30 passes in OTAs.
Well, maybe he's been throwing, and there's some sort of pitch count. I mean, I don't think it's too uncommon.
Well, I haven't seen any other team's number one quarterback not throwing OTAs.
Here's the thing that I would say about this, and I get what you're saying, and I'm actually kind of tiptoeing to your side of things. I'm not worried, but I will say, like, there have been warning signs about CJ Stroud's shoulder every year that he's played football the last 3 years. Like, it's not something that we haven't like seen some sort of signs on. I know he had the injury at Ohio State, which he talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Week two of his rookie season against the Indianapolis Colts, he had to get to the game early. He ended up playing. And I think last year there was a little bit of soreness as well. We saw them working on the shoulder a little bit. So there have been some warning signs, but maybe those warning signs just lead to you kind of minimizing or being a little bit more proactive when it comes to the shoulder.
Look, it's all it is 1 day of work. It's been 1 day of workouts and he didn't throw. So that's all we have to go off of. If he doesn't throw on Friday, big time concern. Big time concern. You talk about pitch counts or this guy's offseason schedule versus that guy's franchise QB needs to throw. And one practice, okay, maybe I shouldn't make too much of it with one practice. But 2 practices, he doesn't throw, that'd be a big time worry Friday if he's not throwing.
So
we in here talking about practice.
It's really all we have to talk about, AI. So what are you saying that you're gonna like? You think something's wrong? I think they're just load managing him right now.
Well, yeah. If he doesn't throw Friday, something is wrong. Why does a guy need load management at the beginning of the program?
Because maybe he's been throwing outside of the program.
Oh, he finally took the offseason super serious, and he just threw his arm out, working away from the facility, away from the field. No interviews, all throws in the offseason.
He was working out before. We did see him. It does look like he's been doing some squats. Pause, but it does look like he's been doing some squats. He was using the bands. He was going through the throwing motion. Just not throwing a little bit of load management.
Yeah, it's just, you don't load manage on day one. What is this, the NBA? You want to tell me Joel Embiid's going to sit out day one of training camp or practice or off season? Sure. Not the franchise QB, not QB1. Come on. There's not even just a little bit in the tippity tap back of your mind that you're like, God, what if this guy's got a serious shoulder injury?
No, I've been very concerned about his shoulder. His shoulder's been something that has just been, it's been there the whole time. But as far as like overly concerned that he didn't throw, Not yet. Maybe I should be. Maybe I don't have enough of a sample size to worry, but that was an interesting. I mean, D'Amico Ryans kind of just wanted to make it very clear. I think Aaron Wilson asked the question. But
he kind of gave he used that as like a blanket statement for like, hey, this guy, any guy that's not here, not working out,
I know that's not the case when it comes to anybody.
Yeah, I mean, he just said, "Oh, everybody's on their own like program, their own schedule right now." Okay, sure,
yeah,
sure. So the quarterback schedule involves him not throwing in practice to his new wide receivers and a brand new offense. Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Just that's the schedule. Well, if that's the schedule, that's the dumbest schedule ever. Right? Like if you plan for him to not throw when they get on the field, that'd be dumb. So by deductive reasoning, you have to feel like there was, and now maybe it could just be some tenderness. The shoulders feel a little tight today. Okay, no throwing. Maybe they're overly cautious. Maybe that's the case.
I don't know. I'm not overly worried, but there is something to look at. We'll see what happens Friday. Herman on the super chat says, "Don't worry, fellas. We'll find out what really happened. 3 years on a podcast." You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
3 years from now. James R says, GG season's over. Let's prepare to tank.
No, not like that. Now, Friday at 9:47 or whatever, when they first start warming up and he's not throwing, start figuring out who the number one pick is in the draft.
I do think this is the type of stuff that I think is funny, and this is kind of like the meat writing extreme, because I'm not overly concerned, because I do see some load management. But while Spartacus says this is the definition of making a mountain out of a molehill, you're not like, I mean, you're just worried that you didn't see the quarterback throw on day one. It's not anything that massive, but I mean, if CJ Stroud didn't throw, like he didn't throw day one, I don't think it's like a molehill. It's just something to keep an eye on.
How many?
Yeah, that's
franchise quarterbacks.
The writing nature of some things.
How many franchise quarterbacks didn't throw on day one of OTAs? That's what I'd love to know.
Yeah. Oh no.
How many unquestioned number one guys didn't throw?
Rich Boy J on the super says, Cody criticized the draft pick on a QB. Caserio don't miss.
Guess what? He wasn't there either because he's got a broken leg.
Yeah, we talked about that.
They probably had to oil up his robo leg. That's probably why he couldn't work today.
Sure he still has two legs. The way that he was moving on that one at rookie mini camp, I don't know that Mr. Mertz has very many legs.
Yeah, Graham Mertz's cybernetic leg needed a software upgrade, so he wasn't there today.
Touch of Trent says it's only May 28th. Yeah, he did. Is that making your case, or is that the opposite case? That's what I'm trying to make.
Well, two months from now, he's got to be throwing at training camp, getting ready for the season. So,
yeah, is that a case or not? Because on your side, that would be my question. Like, is he backing up your worry, or is he pushing?
I think he's trying to say, well, there's no worry here because it's only May 28th.
Okay.
Well, it's phase 2 of the offseason program. They have 3 open to the media on-field practices left, 4 open to the media on-field practices left. He should be like every quarterback in the league that doesn't have something wrong with them is throwing right now. So feels like the time of the year where the quarterback is throwing to the wide receivers.
Rich Boy again on the chat says it is unreasonable to expect Caserio to be perfect.
This isn't the Caserio thing. I mean, if they drafted Graham Mertz because they knew CJ's shoulder was messed up, that's some big brain stuff that
they should have been on Shador if that's the case, probably.
Yeah. How about drafting a not hurt quarterback if yours is hurt?
All right, so we have CJ Stroud not throwing. Cody's very, very concerned.
By the way,
that shoulder always makes me nervous. It seems like if there ever is, I'll knock on wood, But if there ever is a shoulder injury, I think at the very least we have enough data at this point to where we can say, well, the warning signs were there.
Sure.
You know, like whenever something like extreme happens and then you look back, you're like, well, the warning signs were there. I'll say in the moment before anything happens, the warning signs with that shoulder have been there every year that we've watched him play ball.
And to add on to the fact that CJ Stroud didn't throw at OTAs, the other two guys stunk. Like,
how is Keon Slovis even a practice squad player?
Dude, you know, and those outfielders are like right up against the wall and they got to get the ball in as like quick as they can. But they got a long way to throw it and they got to do like the 2 crow hops to throw it. He does that to throw it 10 yards on a dime. Like he used, I'm pretty sure he had to ice his arm after he threw a dart over the middle for 10 yards. It's the hardest I've ever seen him throw a football.
I just don't see how he's even on a practice squad.
Well, I think that's why Graham Mertz is here. As soon as Graham Mertz's leg works.
Yeah, I don't understand the Keon Slovis thing. Like sometimes you watch practice squad guys, like what was it, Boyle or whatever. It's like, okay, well, he can give you a good look. Like, I mean, he's going to give you a good look. He can throw the ball. Like you see practice squad guys who can, I mean, they can at least hum, like the ball hums a little bit. I don't know what this guy's doing to give them a good look.
He's the safest all-time QB in the neighborhood because he's not breaking any windows.
So there you go. CJ Stroud does not throw. Are you concerned?
Jimmy asks, did Davis Mills look any better? Are we in good hands if CJ misses a game? No, they're screwed. It's like
Davis Mills is a game time player, man. He ain't no practice player. We in here talking about practice. He ain't no game time player. He brings the rice out. He's a game time player. He ain't no practice player.
Sure. Okay, well, you're right because practice didn't look good.
So let's talk about the guys that block for CJ Stroud here on S&L, straight from OTAs. So the new look offensive line, we got our first look, and it was a little bit of a surprise, I will say. The first offensive line we saw. At left tackle, Cam Robinson, the $12 million man. No surprise there. No surprise there. At left guard, the guy who started damn near every game the last decade. I'm not exaggerating. Laken Tomlinson. No surprise there. No surprise there. At center.
Ooh, here's the first surprise.
As Cody says it, center. Jake Andrews.
Mm-hmm.
Jake Andrews was your starting center. It wasn't Juice Scruggs. It was Jared Patterson. Now, I do think it should be mentioned that before practice, Jared Patterson was the one snapping the ball to CJ Stroud. So maybe we don't make too much of this because Patterson was on the side snapping the rock to CJ. But Jake Andrews was your first team center. And then at right guard, Titus Howard. Playing a little bit of right guard and at right tackle, the second-year guy, no relation to Derek, Blake Fisher.
Correct. The two surprises there, Andrews at center ahead of Patterson, ahead of Scruggs, ahead of Cox, and then Titus Howard at a new position for him. So I think Andrews is the unique one because he's played 70 snaps in the NFL in 2 seasons, and none of those were at center. They were all at left guard. He was hurt all of last year for the New England Patriots. They claimed him off of waivers. But it's worth noting, when he did play center, when he played football, was his final year at Troy.
Center. All right, keep going.
His offensive line coach at Troy that year was Cole Popovich. So the only year Andrews has been a full-time center was the year Cole Popovich coached him in college, when Popovich was the O-line coach at Troy in 2022.
Yeah, and I didn't know what to really make of that. What position did Caserio say Juice was better at?
He said Juice is better at center.
Yeah, well, he wasn't.
He played.
At all.
He did not get at center today.
Yeah, he was a guard, and he was with the second offensive line. So the second offensive line that I caught, and there were some other combinations they had, but the The second team offensive line, and there was no Trent Brown. I did not see him. I wouldn't have
missed him
if he
we
been out there.
wouldn't have missed him if he was out there.
So the second offensive line, we had Ariante Ursary, who is a massive, massive, massive effing human being.
Every bit 6'6", 330, and then some.
We had left guard Juice Scruggs. Juice Scruggs. If Juice Scruggs were a juice, what kind of juice would he be?
Prune. Because it runs right through you and you run right through him.
Center, Jared Patterson. Right guard, Jalen Thomas.
That was a little surprising. He's listed as a tackle, and to the best of my knowledge, hasn't played much guard in his career. But I've got to do some looking on Jalen Thomas and learn a little bit more about him.
And then we saw at right tackle Austin Deculus. So as far as the offensive line goes, I think the Jake Andrews thing is interesting. I mean, he's out there. I mean, that's another thing. I didn't know how healthy he was when they picked him up, but he's playing. He's out there. I've heard you say, and I kind of pushed back on it. You said, you don't know which offensive lineman has the upper hand and all that. Like, and it wasn't in the context of Jake, but you just laid it out. He has a pretty big advantage over the rest of the guys. He knows these guys very well and what they want and what they like in multiple areas. So Jake Andrews is someone that we probably should pay a little bit of attention to. And as far as Juice Scruggs goes, I was thinking about this when I was on my way from OTAs. I went and ate with McLean. By the way, I got to tell you, man, I mixed it up today. El Gallo out there.
I saw the picture. It looked really good.
Brother, I didn't even know this was on the menu. This isn't on the regular menu. It's just on the lunch menu.
Oh, it's a lunch only item.
I'm sure they would make it because they're cool. It's kind of like a home style. So I went with I promise I'll make my point, but I went with McLean to El Gallo. Look at this tamale. It's 3 pork tamales topped with Tex-Mex gravy, Fritos, cheese, and onions. So it's basically like a Frito pie tamale served with Mexican rice and beans. By the way, $10.45 for that dish. They have very nice prices at El Gallo.
And they do chips and salsa there, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, come on, look at that. But look at this. Look at these tamales with the Fritos blended in with the cheese, the enchilada sauce, the rice, and the beans. Oh, my goodness. What a plate that was. Anyway. But as I was leaving that awesome dining experience with J-Mac, I thought about this with Juice Scruggs. And I think that it's just he's just shown what he is. And I think we're kind of holding on to like some sort of hope or thought that maybe this guy is going to end up starting in one of these spots. But if you've watched Juice Scruggs play for 2 years, there's one thing that he's shown. He plays like a backup. The quality of play of Juice Scruggs is a backup. He's one of the guys that can play center if the other guy's hurt, and he's going to look like a backup. And he can play guard if someone's hurt, and he's going to look like a backup. So maybe it's just time to accept the fact that maybe it's not just coaching, and maybe this changes. But maybe Juice Scruggs is just a backup guard, and that's it. And that's what Juice Scruggs is going to be for the next 2 years. And maybe in wake of seeing Andrews and all his familiarity and Jared Patterson and all these guys they brought in at guard, maybe it's time to just accept the fact that Juice Scruggs is a second-round pick that they traded up for, but in the current state and really in his entire state as a Houston Texan, he's a backup.
The only time I've ever felt like he looked really good was that little stretch there where they did start him at center before he got his first NFL injury and then was mysteriously gone for 3/4 of the season and then came back and he played guard and he was, average to bad most of the time. And then last year, they thought Shaq Mason coming off an injury, not having played for a month, was better than him. So, yeah, Juice Scruggs is probably a backup player for this team right now.
Yes.
Despite the fact that there's opportunity in front of him, he wasn't in the center rotation today. It was Andrews, Patterson, Cox, and Scruggs didn't, from my view, didn't get a snap at right guard where it feels like there's a little bit more of an open area. Not to say there's not an open area at left guard. Laken Tomlinson could easily get beat out, but there's less options for guys that have played right guard. Like Titus Howard's played 3 snaps in his life at right guard. So Juice Scruggs played 2 games there last year, and Titus is getting first crack over him. And Jalen Thomas, who's a tackle, is getting second crack at right guard. So yeah, it's pretty good read that Juice Scruggs is just a backup right now until he proves otherwise.
I mean, no, he's a backup. He's not going to prove otherwise. That's what he is. And that's the thing. Like in the chat, it's, well, he was this and that. Yeah, he was. He's a backup.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So I'm not even going to approach this as if Juice Scruggs is in backup. Period. Point blank in the story. So
yeah, I wouldn't play him over any of these guys, including Titus Howard at right guard.
Now I will say all of these offensive linemen, they look like they've been working out and they look like they're in pretty good shape. There wasn't anyone that doesn't look like they were in great shape. I don't know about Blake Fisher. He looked.
I thought he looked really good.
But yeah, they all look like they're in pretty damn good shape.
It looked to me like Blake Fisher lost some baby fat, so to speak.
So did Juice Scruggs. Like if we're being honest, like if after I say all that about Juice Scruggs, I will say it does seem like what he can control, he did a good job of that.
I bought into good workout offseason Juice Scruggs last year, so it's hard for me to buy in again.
Well, good for you.
And then Titus looks like he dropped weight in the midsection too.
Yeah, Titus looks like a guard, man. He's out there doing his thing.
I do wonder if they told him he's going to be a guard and he changed the workout program to benefit that.
Other offensive line observation, and this is just me being the nerdy ass dude I am that likes to watch the stretches, just to kind of like get a grasp of the vibes and stuff, especially like on monumental days where there's like a first practice of some sort, like through one of the phases. Tomlinson already looks like he's kind of the leader of these guys.
OG type.
I mean, he's leading the stretches. He's kind of the one that's yelling at guys and you saw the video, the viral video of Trent Williams with him, how Trent Williams used to treat Tomlinson when he was a 49er and all that. It seems like Tomlinson's kind of the guy that's, I don't want to call him the overseer, but he's very vocal. He seems to lead by example. Dude, he is in shape. Like
he's stout.
He is not the Matt Khalil, like that I always speak of, the Khalil Britt Mason. I call it the KBM eyes. When it comes to guys that are washed at that point. Nah, he looks like he's in really, really good shape. But yeah, it does seem like, and I know that Jets fans and Seahawks fans think that he sucks and the grades aren't good, but he keeps starting for whatever reason. But Tomlinson does seem like he's already kind of, I don't want to say the alpha, but just like if you were just watching practice and you had to say, all right, who's the leader of this group? Some don't have one. Like some just kind of seem to move in the same, but he's clearly the one that sticks out.
I mean, he hadn't missed a game since 2017. So definitely was a guy that if you were going to believe that he was going to come in, he's either coming in and he's going to be ready to go like usual, which that's what it is, or he comes in broken like they've had some offensive linemen do, but it's not the latter, it's the former. He was ready.
Now, that's the good stuff right there when it comes to the O-line. Do you want some bad stuff?
Well, you got to talk about you got to talk about some of the bad stuff.
The D-line is a very unimpressive looking group, and I'm talking about the defensive tackles. Not when you put the edge guys in the mix, it looks a lot different. But when you just see the D tackles warming up, and doing what they did before practice, and it's easy to spot them because they kind of go off to the side and they're doing like leg workouts. They don't necessarily look that imposing.
Well, they were missing Sheldon Rankins.
He wasn't there.
Mario Edwards and Foley Fatukasi.
Okay, well, that explains it. But yeah.
So yeah, Junior Tafuna and Tommy Togiai and Keontae Hamilton, they don't really feel like Aaron Donald out there.
But I mean, I guess Rankins will look a little different. Yeah, I guess that explains it. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's an unfair way to judge them.
Yeah, the 6th round defensive tackle, an undrafted defensive tackle, and a guy that got picked up week like 9 off waivers last year. They don't really cut an impressive look there.
Doesn't it feel like I know that was some Captain Obvious. Doesn't it feel like Tim Settles just kind of disappeared? He was there, but like I couldn't like there was nothing. There's no like extra look. Like there's no like second look or anything with Tim Settles. It feels like since there was just a constant after last year's hot start.
Yeah,
started with the Chiefs when he started getting mad at people for stuff he actually said.
It's we just went over the various defensive tackles that weren't there, and you're thinking, okay, in a good situation they're keeping 5. If I was Tim Settle, I wouldn't be counting my money and making the roster right now.
Rich Boy Jay says, hot take: DTs 3 through 6 don't look so hot. They don't look like an NFL D line room. But
I don't even think it was DT 3. I think it was probably DT like 5 through 8. Kurt Hinish wasn't there either.
Yeah, he wasn't, was he?
No, they didn't have hardly any defensive tackles here today.
Okay, so yeah, obviously, I guess what I said is true, but it's also like a no shit. So there's that.
I have a couple of more O-line things we didn't get to. Fisher and Ursery swapped at one point where Ursery was with Howard, Andrews, Tomlinson, and Robinson, and Fisher was out there with Ladarius Henderson and Eli Cox. And Ursery got worked twice by Solomon Byrd. The 7th round defensive end from last year.
It's gonna happen.
It was just speed, and then later on, Ursery got his mitts on him, and the guy Byrd didn't go anywhere. Like Ursery just boop, that was it. Like that's his. Ursery gets his hands on you. At least the Solomon Byrds of the world, they're not going anywhere.
You have another one?
And Ladarius Henderson played left guard with the 3rd string. So much for the offseason buzz.
I mean, it's early, right? He's going to work his way back. He's just trying to figure it out.
First day, but that's all we got to go off of. So
he's just trying to figure it out. Don't.
When Juice Scruggs get snaps ahead of you, it's not good.
He's just trying to work it out, you know.
He's trying to get back in the groove.
Yeah. He's just working it in, you know. He's going to be. I saw some Chester Pitts was out there. I thought I mistaked him for Ladarius Henderson. By the way, how skinny is Wade Smith now? What is he on?
Wade's.
He took it too far, man.
He might be a third of what he used to weigh.
He took it too far.
I don't know, man. I think when O linemen go one of two ways when they're done. They either lose all of it and then some, or they just get into even bigger fat asses.
Gilbert says, what about tight ends? I got an interesting observation in theory that might encourage you about tight ends. I'm going to bring that up on the night stream for sure at 10:30. I'll touch on it here as well. But there was something that happened after practice that had me thinking, and it would make a lot of people feel really, really good. We'll get into that at 10:30, but we'll also talk about the tight ends here as well.
No Dalton Schultz, no Brevin Jordan.
Yes.
So Cade Stover, Irv Smith, and Luke Lachey, and then working out with them was fullback Jakob Johnson.
Yeah, who caught a couple passes in the flat. Chase asks if you're the number one big guy watcher.
I pay attention to the O-line as much as anybody, certainly right now after I got burned last year.
Yeah, Cody's definitely he's definitely a chubby chaser. What?
I mean, that's not really true.
What are you talking about? That's what you do when you watch football. You love guards and you love tackles. You're taking a term. We're talking about football, Cody. We're not.
But I'm
else.
not chasing them. I'm watching them.
It's a line. It's a type. You're not like it's.
Okay. Sometimes you can only get what you get. All right.
Not everybody's the offensive line.
Not everybody's Rico Suave in their youth.
No,
okay.
Nobody's saying.
All right. That's fine.
He's mixing up my football terminology. Look at this guy.
I did feel like Stover had a couple of nice catches with like quick outs to answer the tight end guy's question. And then Irv Smith looked like he was moving around pretty well. That's all I'll say.
All right. Okay. All right. So notable absences. You want me to go through the list?
Go for it.
All right. So Joe Mixon, the alleged boot that he was wearing per Aaron Wilson. We have no confirmation on that. We just know he wasn't there. Damian Pierce, he wasn't there either. Dare Ogunbowale, RB1 today. And I know that makes a lot of you people, and I do mean you people, happy. Christian Harris, he was there in a hoodie, but he was not on the field. So no Christian Harris today.
He did look like he's been doing curls this offseason.
He is a massive human being.
Because it was a cutoff hoodie, and I was like, is that Christian Harris? You were like, yep, that's him. And I was like,
yeah.
Geez.
Wait, that was a hoodie?
Somebody's hit the.
I thought that was a dry fit that was 3 sizes too small.
Yeah, somebody's
hoodie.
Somebody's hit the curls this offseason.
I thought that was a Ninja Turtle Halloween costume. Justin Watson was not there. We don't know why. We know D'Amico likes him, and that's why I think you got to take some of this with a grain of salt, because you don't know why these guys aren't here. The Mixon thing, we have do we call it a report, or do we just call it a mention from Aaron Wilson about the boot? I guess a mention, and then
I would say it's a report because he talked about it in a video.
Okay, yeah, and it's not an opinion type thing. It's a factual thing. So yeah, I'm always real sensitive towards that. So yeah, Justin Watson not there. Dalton Schultz, he was there, but he wasn't on the field.
Correct.
Him and Brevin were getting some work in at the end.
So it's worth. I do wonder if some of these guys would have been workout on the side field if they had been outside, because they had to go inside because of the weather, and there's not enough room for like side guy workouts.
That's a good point.
So I do wonder if they were outside, if some of these names would have been side field workouts.
They were doing side field workouts after Brevin and Dalton.
Right. So training room during, watch, and then maybe do some work after.
No Daniil Hunter and no CJ Gardner-Johnson, but we know that they've both been pretty active around here lately, and no Sheldon Rankins.
Correct.
I don't know if I missed anybody or not, but those are the guys that weren't there. I wouldn't put a lot of stock. I say no Schultz, he was there, just wasn't on the field.
No practice.
Yeah, same with Brevin, he was there.
And Azeez Al-Shire had a light work day, so he didn't do a lot of 7-on-7 or any 7-on-7, I don't think. And then
how freaking huge is he now?
Yeah, he hit the weight.
I know he's always been big, but he's
getting ready. He's getting ready for his rematch week 3,
dude.
When he goes John Bradshaw Layfield on Trevor Lawrence and just clothesline from hell,
dude,
takes him out.
And you know who else is massive? Will Anderson is. He is wide as. I mean, he is like. He's a physical freak. Every area, he is a physical freak.
It just feels like he just keeps stacking bricks towards an elite pass rush level. From like the way he talks about his game to learning the moves and the improvement there. He added the weight last year. Now it looks like he's still big, but he's maybe transformed some of the weight from just poundage to muscle. He keeps stacking the blocks towards being an elite pass rusher and being one of the best at that position.
Yeah, he's
Did you happen to catch?
He's massive. Like he was sitting there like flexing, and he had like he said he was working out with Myles Garrett, which makes sense. I asked him though who was lifting more weight. He kind of he accepted it. He accepted it. He accepted that it was Myles.
Did you happen to catch was it JC Latham with the boys talking about Will Anderson?
Did not.
He's the Titans tackle. They played together at Bama. And Latham said that at Bama, he got the best of Will Anderson. Anderson just kind of used power and was just a bull rush guy. And he's like, I got the tape and the money to prove I got the best of him. And then they asked him, well, what about in the NFL? He's like, different guy, totally different guy. He's like, he's figured out moves. He's figured out hand placement. He's figured out this. And he's like, he got me. Not even going to lie. He got me. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. So other observations, did we miss anything in the trenches? Not really.
I don't think so.
The offensive line, we covered the D line. Linebackers, nothing really stuck out.
Like it's pretty light day from a defensive line perspective because Will Anderson was the only, I would say, super notable defensive lineman out there. Everyone else is kind of a depth guy that was out there, tackles and ends included. So it was mostly depth and Will Anderson for day one when it comes to the D line. So we've talked about the O line.
Yeah, nothing to look at running back. Quite frankly, as soon as I saw Dare Gumbawale was RB1, I wasn't even watching the running backs. That actually made my viewing a lot easier. I could kind of look.
The only notable thing about running backs is British Brooks is a running back again.
British Brooks is back at running back. That is very true. And Mr. Flow 936 actually asked, so yes, fullback / running back will be probably where British Brooks goes, probably where his best chance is to figure something out. But yes, British Brooks back in that area.
Yep.
The DBs
really I thought they had some pretty nice moments.
They always do. Kalen Bullock, by the way, looks like the exact same guy.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's.
I think some guys just can't put on weight. Like it's just kind of like their body type, and you just got to accept it. He looks like the same guy.
Yeah,
good player. But if anyone thought he was gonna arrive at camp just jacked, like yoked up, no.
He and Kamari Lassiter had different off seasons.
No, he is a ball hawk.
Yeah,
for sure. So there was that. The punt return line was interesting. You had Stingley.
Couple DB things. 2 pass breakups by Lassiter, 1 on Nico Collins. Kind of a bad throw because it was scrub QB day. And 1 on John Mechie. Mechie just got in his hands. Lassiter came in, knocked it away. Mechie looked like, what happened? Like, okay, I think you know what happened. And then Jalen Reed had a diving pass breakup where he broke on a short route. And then at the last second, just like stretched out and dove in and knocked it away. And he has like those really good safeties. It kind of looks like they're like stalking their prey out there at safety. He kind of looked that way with some of the backups on the field.
The defense is just going to be gross. Like it's not.
I really like Jalen Reed. I know he's one of your guys.
Yeah, the defense is just going to be filthy, and I think these role players are going to do a good job. The new rookies and the guys they got in of making it even nastier. So there was that. The punt return line. Do we want to go to special teams? Is there anything else we want to touch on offense and defense? We're taking you behind OTAs here. Oh, I'll say this. The rookie wide receivers are already better than the vets that were on the roster last year. Like just based on just the eye test and what you're watching, like Noel is light years ahead of John Mechie, like when they're running routes. I know Mechie had a good play in 7-on-7, and Jacob asks, he says he heard Mechie look like a Pro Bowler. He made a play. Yeah, he made a play early in 7-on-7.
He also had 2 balls hit him in the hand and hit the ground.
Yeah, but as far as just like the fluidity of the routes and the overall look, Noel looks like in this setting, he looks like he's ahead of him, and Higgins looks like he's ahead of Xavier Hutchinson when it comes to receiving.
Higgins to be, and this is something that you kind of saw from Nico Collins a year ago, like to be the big guy at wide receiver, to be one of a bigger wide receiver, but to not be challenged by some of the footwork stuff and to make it look smooth and effortless as a bigger wide receiver. That's what really stood out to me with Jaden Higgins. And there was probably 3 or 4 plays in 7-on-7s or teams that the quarterback just didn't see him. And he was behind the defense or had his guy beat, and the quarterback had already made a decision or got rid of the ball or didn't see him. And so and then Noel had the catch of the day. He ended practice with this incredible sideline grab where he was like leaning over the sideline, rips it out of the air, taps both the toes.
Yeah.
Had everybody going nuts, and then boom, that was it. Practice was over.
Rolo says Bullock is fine, just chill. I didn't say he wouldn't. If I made it, I'm just saying he's not.
It was not a negative comment.
No, I'm saying if you're expecting him to be jacked, it's not happening. That's just not. But there's been a lot of football players to where they're just skinny their entire career. Devontae Smith was supposed to put on weight. He looks the exact same.
Yep.
And he's still a very good football player, but that was always the talk. Oh, look what he's going to come back stronger, bigger. Like some body types just don't fit like that. And that's just kind of where he's at. So that's not a knock on Kalen Bullock at all. And it's not a lack of effort. I'm not questioning his work ethic. I'm just saying some guys, he can be lifting as much as he wants. You're not going to put on that much weight. It's not that simple. So just to make that clear, other special teams obs. And I think this is relevant, Cody. I think that perhaps we might be able to fill in all 6 wide receivers, the top 6. And it's the 2 rookies, Nico, Kirk, and Watson and Hutchinson. Hutchinson's first team in special teams, which he was last year. So I think that Hutchinson, he's also got some success at receiver. So I almost feel like we went from like a couple of months ago really unsure about the wide receivers to where I think you feel pretty decent about it, and you feel pretty decent about the possibilities, and it feels like you can almost like guess the top 6.
I would say that if I was looking for a spot where there could be a change, maybe the 6th spot, just you get a younger, or you have like a little bit more special teams focus, but those first 5 I'm pretty confident in those first 5.
And I just want to say Captain Kirk has arrived.
Captain Kirk has arrived. I repeat, Captain Kirk has arrived.
And he was out there. He was returning punts and stuff. He looks like Christian Kirk out there.
Has not consistently returned punts since 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't do any punt returning for Jacksonville last year. Did very little in 2023, and did it for Arizona a couple years into his career.
Other special team stuff, and this is the only place you come for these obs, because we're sickos. EJ Speed is on first team punt, so I think EJ Speed is going to be a very valuable special teams guy. I thought that before, but I think he's going to be very valuable. Jalen Petry's a 4. He might be a 3.5 down player. Now, I don't know if he's going to be on the field on like all obvious passing downs, but I do know that he's going to be out there on 4th down, whether it's punt return, whether it's whatever. Like he is Jalen Petry. He might be the special teams captain. He's still very, very involved in special teams. So that's another thing. Tremont Smith, I mean, he's their ace. That's Frank Ross talked about it when he joined us. He was happy to get him back. He's all over the place on special teams. So there's some good stuff about special teams. There's also something bad that I just need to acknowledge. And I know it's early, and I know that you don't want to be too negative this early unless it's necessary. And in this case, I think it's necessary. The number 40 deep snapper sucks.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say.
Who in the hell is he? There's 2 deep snappers.
Because there's no John Weeks anymore.
I'm not even going to bother knowing y'all's names until you just tell me who the deep snapper is. Number 40 had 2 bad snaps.
The one that you don't.
John Weeks make a bad snap my entire time covering him.
So let me set the scene for the people when 40. His name's Austin Brinkman had some bad snaps. They're doing like team drills and they're doing stuff on the other end of the field. And Tommy Townsend is working on directional punting horizontally across the field. So Frank Ross on the other side of the field would take a blue blocking pad and he'd set it on the ground, and Townsend was trying to punt the ball so it would land on the blue blocking pad.
He was being kind of hard on himself too.
He was being very hard on himself. And he's like Townsend's mad that he's like, oh, that one was too far left, or that was too far right. Like he wasn't getting as close as he wanted. And then Brinkman snaps him one at his ankles, and Townsend doesn't even kick the ball, and he just kind of goes and doesn't even do the rep. And I was like, dude, you're in the middle of a long snapping competition with the other guy. You can't jack up a long snap.
He wanted to make it look clear that was a bad snap because Tommy could have gotten that off, and it was a low ass snap, and he just put it on the ground and didn't even bother punting it. And it was just basically like, get this weasel.
So long snapping competition, Tucker Addington ahead of Austin Brinkman.
I have a long shot parlay for you. Are you ready for this long shot parlay? This is you can't get this in any sports book. You can only get this at the Landry Locker sports books. And it is $5 to win 1.5 million. That's how long of a shot this parlay is. It's a two-thing parlay though. 2-thing parlay. Number 1 is that John Mechie is in joint practices, and we got some news on joint practices as well if you're a fan of such a thing. But John Mechie is at joint practices as a Carolina Panther.
Okay.
That's item 1. Item 2, John Weeks ends up back with his team before the season starts.
Ooh.
John Weeks ends up back with his team before the season starts.
I don't hate this.
Yeah, those are my 2.
This feels like one of those wagers that has such long odds that you also like you have a limit, like you can't bet that much, you know?
Oh yeah, there's like a $6 limit on this, maybe. Actually, probably like a 30 cent based on the odds I just laid out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my long shot parlay.
I don't hate it. Tucker Addington, much better at the long snapping than Austin Brinkman. So
yeah, Brinkman sucked.
You cannot use them in the future when we play obscure Houston Texans of history, by the way.
Oh, I know that CJ Stroud, and we just went through all 3 phases. Did I miss anything on special teams? I think we got all that covered, right?
Did you say that Stingley returned some punts?
Yes, he was in the line. I would situationally let Derek Stingley return a punt here or there. I wouldn't do it all the time, but I would situationally.
Sure.
But so CJ Stroud, we know he's not like hurt despite the shoulder, because did you notice the most excited CJ got today? He got very excited. I don't think I've seen him this excited in a practice. You didn't notice it.
Tell me.
So in 7-on-7, perhaps the play of the day, if they had a top 5 plays, it would definitely be maybe 3. Xavier Johnson made a catch and CJ Stroud was pumped. Because I
do remember this. He was first down.
So CJ Stroud, I think they're really, really good friends. But Xavier Johnson, number 89, probably not going to make the team. Maybe he can get in the practice squad. Maybe he can shine in preseason. But he made the play, and CJ Stroud was very excited about that.
And he was signaling first down with the throwing arm. So maybe Xavier Johnson's positive plays is getting CJ the work that he needs instead of actually throwing the football.
Yeah.
Yeah, Xavier Johnson with the first down.
Yep. Ohio State guy, right? Yeah.
Ohio State guy, yes.
Yep. They're tight.
It's not unusual in the locker room to see them. Their lockers aren't together, but to see them spending time together in the locker room when we're in there doing interviews.
On the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Birdie Boy says, why do people waste questions asking D'Amico about flag football? Is it me? Or do y'all care about that? So I don't hate the question in this instance because there's kind of OTA stuff and it is like in the news, but it's the Chronicle guy. What's his name?
It's not the Chronicle guy. It's Cron.com.
Cron.com guy. What's his name?
I don't know.
Shapiro?
Yes.
I actually like his questions because they're not pandering low-hanging fruit, but it's always the hits. He asked Will Anderson if he had a 20-sack season in him, which some people might roll their eyes out, but I actually like this guy's line of questioning. I think he does. I'm actually kind of a Shapiro fan when it comes to stuff like that. But he was just asking about the Olympics because it's topical. Nico Collins said that he would want to play. I do think the outside receivers are going to be able to transition easy in the Olympics, but I do find it amusing that some people think that NFL players could just line up and beat the Team USA flag football team right now. They would get their ass kicked. Like, you're going to have to train a little bit to figure it out, especially like the slot guys, the quarterback, all that. It's a way different game. You can't block someone. Like, you can't just push your arms into someone. It's hard to grab the flags. The rules are crazy. Like the Team USA flag football team right now would smoke. This isn't 7-on-7. This isn't UFL, XFL. It's a completely different game.
Correct.
I didn't have as much of a problem with the question, but I get it.
This was one of the few days where you'd be like, oh, okay, that's question makes sense. I don't know that we needed a, hey, D'Amico, who do you think would be good at flag football? Follow up.
That's not a D'Amico question. That's a player question.
And then Nico was like, yeah, I want to do it. Yeah, Nico Collins was like, sure, I'd be in the Olympics. I'd love to have a gold medal. Well, I think Finland's going to have something to say about that, Nico.
Sean says, did y'all see the Diggs video? Is he talking about Stephon Diggs on a boat?
It Diggs on a boat flirting with women that are not his.
They're not Cardi B.
Yeah, that are not Cardi B.
Yeah, look, I said they needed to move on from Diggs from the jump, like in the season, and this is part of it. I just think he's in a different phase of his career.
Did you see Vrabel talk about it?
I did not. What did he say?
He said, well, we hope when we're in the building and when we're not in the building, we're making good decisions.
Vrabel's such a hard ass, dude.
Yeah. Vrabel looked like he was a tad bit annoyed to be asked about Stephon Diggs on a boat and not Stephon Diggs at an OTA.
Yeah. Afternoon, Landry, Cody, and friends. Shout out to HDAV Traveler.
Thank you, my friend.
Damon says, who had the best and worst body improvement? We kind of touched on that.
Best to me was Fisher and Titus Howard.
I think it's Will Anderson.
And then most surprising to me was Nick Needman, the special teams linebacker that they signed from the Chargers. He looked like a high schooler out there.
This is so wrong.
He looked like a high schooler.
He did not. This is so wrong. Me and Kunkel were making fun of you for this.
He made Jake Hansen look like Zach Thomas.
He did not. He was wearing a long sleeve, like baggy ass shirt.
His arms looked like Kalen Bullock's legs.
This is such an exaggeration by Cody.
You guys also made fun of me for my hair, and I booked a haircut appointment.
No, it's the back. You just need a neck trim. Don't.
I'm getting a full haircut tomorrow.
No, don't do that. Keep the hair going.
I'm doing the full haircut.
Keep the hair going. Just don't.
I'll get my usual.
No, keep the hair going for sure. You're fine there. So to recap, the big news: CJ Stroud didn't throw. Stoots a little bit more worried than I, although there have been some clues about the shoulder. The new offensive line, the obvious is the surprise is Andrews.
Yep.
I've accepted that Juice Scruggs is just a backup. We'll just charge that one to the game. Keep the change. Most marriages blossom and die. And then we talked about the defense and how the defense is just freaking good. It's really
Yeah.
freaking good.
Patrick asked an important question here.
Okay.
How many competitions did we get for the beer slush fund?
0.
No competitions. We got some competes, which is different.
And it has to be about the offensive line. No competition.
Got some competes.
Well,
No
Kunkel's doing a good job of planning a story, and it's very I see right through him.
Oh, I can already see him with his suit that he takes the binder clips and pins back so it looks even tighter. I can already see him tonight on Fox 26 talking about who was and who wasn't at OTAs when it comes to offensive line.
Yes, and that's exactly this is exactly how Will's going to be. He's going to be like, hold on. Let me put my makeup on before. Hey, we got the D'Amico cut and Nico. The Nico cut where he talked about how important it is people to be here. All right. One of the biggest concerns on this Texans offense is the offensive line and protecting CJ Stroud. In recent years, the face of that offensive line during these OTAs has been nowhere to be found. Laramie Tunsil. And based on reports in Washington, something's never changed as Tunsil once again not there. However, today, as the Texans were at voluntary workouts, this offensive line showed that there's nothing voluntary about protecting a franchise quarterback. Here's what Nico Collins had to say about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. D'Amico Ryans has had this team in the playoffs twice, but if this team wants to get over the hump, they're going to need to block better for CJ Stroud. And that starts in May, so you can play in January. I'm Will Kunkel, Fox 26.
After the break, we'll break down all 12 of Lance McCullers' strikeouts in the game against the Athletics today.
Boy, it was hurting him not being there for Lance.
Oh, I know.
You could tell Kunkel, he is Lance McCullers' Windhorst. You could tell it hurt him. It hurt him not being there. That's
the only time Brian Windhorst and Will Kunkel will ever be mentioned in the same sentence.
You could tell he hated not being there for Lance's start, man. He felt like
man. He's McCullers' Windhorst.
Yeah, he is definitely all over the attendance. It was very, very much a done deal.
Oh, that's funny.
That will happen.
That is funny.
All right, so Friday, I'm actually going to be at a wedding. I'm going to be in Oklahoma City for a wedding. Nephew getting married. I didn't have nieces and nephews really. I did, but not like older ones. Wifey, the nieces and nephews getting married, dude. So,
is this going to be a? What do you think the food situation is going to be like?
Sick. It's awesome.
Okay.
They own there's a barbecue restaurant too that they own called Bedlam Barbecue. I don't know if any OKC folks have there. Pretty good.
Sounds really good.
It's good.
It's a hell of a name.
Bedlam. Yeah.
Are they on Oklahoma Monthly's top 50 barbecue joints?
The Thunder probably won't be playing because that would have been game 6. I'm assuming that they wrap it up today. Although people are kind of discouraging me for betting, so I won't like throw out bets or anything, but yeah, I could definitely see that.
OKC alt line? Is that what we're thinking?
Wouldn't mind it.
Okay.
No, yeah, and it would be in Minnesota, but it'd still be a cool environment, like to be in.
It'd be like a charged up city energy.
Yeah, I always like the city. Nah, it would suck if it were in OKC. It would be in Minnesota. I don't think it goes to Minnesota though. Do you?
No.
Call like Minnesota. Call like Minnesota. Call like Minnesota.
Anyway,
Why is that one still on the soundboard?
just like it. Like it. Also, like when the offensive line struggles, maybe I can sneak it in. Man, they look like they were playing the Minnesota Vikings. I'm having a hard time letting it go. Like between Damn It Bobby and that, I'm having a hard time letting Cold Like Minnesota go.
Well,
I really am.
They play the Vikings preseason week 1, so.
All right. Anyway, those are your OTA obs here on S&L. Landry Locker, Cody Stoots with you. Don't do too much with the hair. We were just talking about your neck. You were letting the hair stick out of the back.
That's it.
It looked bad. So yeah,
I'm gonna show the people the picture you sent me.
Oh yeah, the big news, by the way, the Texans will have joint practices with Carolina and Detroit. So joint practices in Detroit. It's cold in the D. We'll be out there probably. So yeah, there you go.
This is the picture Landry sent me of my hairline.
No, but you had all that hair out of the back.
Well, I didn't put it that way. It's just how it happened.
Yeah, but
it's a trucker hat, so it has the
but here's my point. Like you got to treat that much hair going out of the back of your hat like you would if your fly was undone and you were going commando. Like you basically had a dong sticking out of the back of your head, like the equivalent of it. That's how bad it looked. But either way, you're going to be okay. You don't have to do too much.
I'm gonna get my usual haircut. Just
don't touch the hair too much. That was not the goal.
It is just it. There's a lot going on.
No, that's great. Just get the neck trim.
It's just big on the sides.
Trim. Just get the neck trim.
My hair lady for years has been saying, "You got nice hair. You should get a real haircut." I was like, just do the usual.
All right, well, subscribe, like, right along. Always remember when it comes to this Texan stuff, whether you have a hair dong coming out of the back of your head or not, we're all in this together.
I got to keep the hair in case the offensive line makes me pull it out in the season. Eat good, sleep good, be good. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.